Hi, my name is Andrew Goodwin, and I'm going to show you how to automatically select only the stems that you need for export. Okay, so in a typical situation, you've got several stem tracks set up, ready to go in case you need to route something to them. Say for one, typical live vocals. Not every cue is going to have live vocals on it, but it's really great to already have that there to route them to. I will demonstrate it first, and then I'll go over how I did it. All right, here we go. So that was a macro I executed within Cubase. And you can see right here, it selected all of the stems that are actually in the session, and it did not select these stems over here, which are not being used. So at this point, you can add them to the job queue and export, or if you are using the traditional method of export, multi-export, then you can just export audio right there and you're done. How this works, let me undo this. The one assumption that this works on is that the parts and events in your session are the only ones that you're going to actually export. So, in this case, they're clean. If you had something, say like you had a track down here, let's make it a little easier to see. You had a track down here that was, some synth idea that you had, and it's routed to the synth stem, but you decided against it. You need to delete that part if it's muted or if it's not used. And that way the synth track won't get selected. The track itself does not have to be deleted if you don't want to deal with that. But that's what it works on, is that everything in here, all of these are exactly what I'm exporting. There's also a command called delete muted events in the Project Logical editor. So if you get done with your session, you've got some ideas on different tracks that didn't work, or you've got some stuff kind of outside of the queue, you can just select that command and kind of quickly clean your session before you do this process. So how this works, if you select all tracks, Control A, or in the key commands window, it's edit select all. It does that. And then we solo the tracks, which is edit solo. These tracks are soloed. Therefore, when they go to these group tracks right here, these group tracks that they're connected to get soloed. And then down here, the stems that they are routed to get soloed. And the biggest thing is you'll notice that we didn't have any live cello in this track. Live cello is actually muted. These are muted as well because they didn't get used. So this is kind of the quick way that you can identify which stems that you are not going to actually export. So we can use the Project Logical editor to select these stems and get rid of them essentially. So what I've done is I've set up a command. It identifies it. So it looks for a group track that is colored black. And in this case, the only time I use the color black is on my stem tracks. You can pick any color that you want. You could also use a symbol in front of the name and identify the stem tracks by that specific symbol combination. I just tend to like to leave the name clean, and that way I don't have to unbrand the track later. So I go by color. And you can specify a specific color that you will never use anywhere else, so that's fine. Down here, it's got property. Property is set, event is muted. So it's only going to select the group tracks that are black and that are muted. And then under function, transform. So it will actually change the track, essentially. So if we click apply, you'll notice all those muted stems got hidden. And I like that they're hidden and they're right here in case I was like, oh, they decided they want synth and I have to go back and add it in. It's not a big deal because it's not destructive. Okay, so that's the first part of it. So we've gotten rid of the tracks that we're not using. And the next part is selecting the stem for export really quickly. So everything is soloed, so we need to unsolo everything, which is a key command as well. And then we've got another Project Logical editor preset. Okay, so this preset again selects it by the group, it selects it by the color black, and then in this case there's an additional requirement. Property is not set, is disabled. It's kind of confusing, but basically it means that it will only select tracks that are visible. So it's not going to select these hidden tracks right here, which was the whole point of hiding them so they wouldn't get selected. And down here in the function you've got select. So if I click apply, you'll notice that all the stems got selected that we're actually exporting. And then under the key commands window, you can also set command for the export window. So you can bring that up automatically. And then in Cubase 11, there's this new icon under multi-export. It shows only the tracks that you have selected in your session right here. So if we click that, you can actually leave this set up like this, so it's kind of the default when you come in here. And that way everything is already selected and you can just go and export. So it's really quick. It's, different people have things set up differently. I'm using Metagrid. I just went into the macros in Cubase and added all these commands in there, which is select all, solo, and then I've got a PLE to select only the muted stems and hide them. And then I unsolo everything, and then I have another PLE to select only the visible stems that are left. Then a key command that brings up the export window, and then that's basically how it's all strung together. All right, so let me undo this, and I'll show you once again it in action. All right, so we've got the session. We're ready to export. I'm going to hit the macro. So there we go, and I've got all the stems that I'm going to export and only those stems. And now I can hit export and we're good. So hope this helps you guys out, and I'll see you later.